By the close of 2025, um, half of all companies will have integrated an AI copilot into their most critical departments.
Hmm.
But, here's the secret that nobody's really talking about. For most of those companies, those multi-million dollar AI systems are going to completely fail to deliver real business value.
Right. And not because the AI isn't smart enough.
Exactly. Not because the models are flawed, it's because of, well, what's hiding in the basement.
Yeah. The irony is that we're entirely captivated by the skyline of artificial intelligence, right?
Mhm.
Like the generative capabilities, the speed, the sleek interfaces,
Definitely.
while the foundational plumbing underneath is just cracking under the pressure.
Welcome back to another deep dive. I'm really thrilled you're joining us today. If you're listening to this, you're likely hearing about AI constantly.
Okay, everywhere.
It's dominating your industry news, it's flooding your inbox, and it's probably the core topic in like half the strategic meetings you sit through. But today, we're cutting right through that surface level noise.
We really are.
We're moving past the flashy experimental phases of generative AI because our mission today is to reveal the hidden engine.
Right. The unseen infrastructure.
Exactly. That absolute essential infrastructure that actually allows these tools to function in a real corporate environment.
It's a critical shift in perspective, honestly.
Mm.
Because while the AI models themselves get all the magazine covers, the underlying data management is what actually dictates success or failure in the market.
Yeah. And to guide you through this, we're drawing on a recent AI News Digest that unpacks a really fantastic piece from Technology Review.
Hmm.
The article is titled, AI Needs a Strong Data Fabric to Deliver Business Value. And by the end of this conversation, you'll understand not just what a data fabric is, but the actual, technical mechanisms of how it works.
And why it's suddenly a massive emergency for enterprise IT.
Right. And why mastering this concept puts you significantly ahead of the curve. So let's start with the sheer scale of what's happening.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Because to grasp why data infrastructure is suddenly a five-alarm fire, we really have to look at the adoption curve. We are way past the phase of, a few engineers just tinkering in an R&D lab.
Oh, totally. The source material highlights a staggering, really aggressive shift. AI has moved out of those isolated sandboxes and has become an integral component of daily, everyday operations.
Right.
It's no longer treated as a novelty. Organizations are treating it as core workday infrastructure.
And the numbers they cite back this up in a way that's frankly hard to wrap your head around. The article points out that by the end of 2025, half of all companies had integrated AI into at least 3 different business functions.
Half of all companies.
Half. We're not just talking about agile tech startups in Silicon Valley here. We're talking about legacy manufacturing, traditional retail, global logistics.
They're deploying copilots everywhere.
Yeah, these highly complex predictive systems are going into incredibly diverse sectors: finance, supply chains, human resources, and customer service. So, okay, let's unpack this. Because dropping an autonomous AI agent into 3 different massive departments simultaneously, it sounds impressive on an earnings call.
Us shareholders love it.
Right. But it also sounds like a recipe for absolute chaos on the back end.
It really is.
Think about it like buying a state-of-the-art, multi-million-dollar electric sports car. You see it in the showroom. The specs are unbelievable. It can do 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds.
Okay, yeah.
But then you bring it home to a dirt road full of massive craters, and your garage doesn't have an electrical outlet.
Right.
And the nearest charging station is 100 miles away. The car is brilliant, but in your specific physical environment, it's essentially a very expensive paperweight.
What's fascinating here is what that dirt road actually looks like inside a live corporate network.
Yeah, paint that picture for us.
Well, when we talk about deploying AI in 3 different functions, say HR, finance, and the global supply chain, we have to look at the immediate physical reality of the data traffic. You're creating a massive, instantaneous demand on a company's internal systems that they were simply never architected to handle.
Wow.
Imagine an AI in HR trying to instantly scan, categorize, and cross-reference 10,000 unstructured employee records, PDFs, and performance reviews.
All at once.
Exactly. And at the exact same microsecond, a predictive system in the supply chain is constantly pinging a legacy mainframe for live inventory data.
Oh, man.
It's pulling in external weather APIs, it's cross-referencing global shipping logistics, all in real time.
While the finance department's copilot is simultaneously running 10,000 Monte Carlo simulations to generate real-time quarterly projections based on all of that.
Exactly.
It's just an overwhelming traffic jam hitting these legacy servers all at once.
Yeah, and those legacy systems were originally built to handle human cadence.
Right. People type slowly.
Right, like a few employees querying a database maybe a couple of dozen times an hour, pulling a static report, and then analyzing it manually. But now, you have automated AI agents hitting those identical databases thousands of times a second.
Wow.
They're demanding incredibly complex, multivariable cross-references. It's a systemic shock to the corporate nervous system.
Which naturally leads us to the core bottleneck.
Right.
If half of all companies are rapidly deploying this tech, but their systems are buckling under the pressure, we have a huge disconnect.
A massive one.
And the Technology Review article makes this explicitly clear. Advanced AI technologies can and frequently do falter. They just entirely fail to deliver tangible value. And it's because these AI systems fundamentally require massive amounts of complex, diverse data flows to function.
Exactly.
Without that foundational support, the AI is paralyzed. But I have to play devil's advocate here for a second.
Okay, go for it.
If these AI models are supposedly so advanced, so highly intelligent, shouldn't they just be able to sort through a company's messy data on their own?
You would think so, right?
Yeah, like, why do we need to perfectly spoon-feed a supercomputer? Going back to the culinary world, if I hire a Michelin star master chef, our AI co-pilot, and put them in my disorganized, chaotic home kitchen, they're still a master chef.
Right.
Shouldn't they just be able to, look around, find what they need, and figure it out?
Well, the chef analogy works, but let's push it further to match the actual reality of corporate data.
Okay.
Your master chef isn't just dealing with a messy kitchen. They're dealing with a kitchen that is actively changing its layout every 5 minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. The chef goes looking for salt, and they find 3 different completely identical jars, all labeled salt.
Oh.
But one contains sugar, one contains baking soda, and one is actually salt.
That's a disaster.
And it gets worse. The refrigerator is padlocked, the chef doesn't have the combination, and the fresh vegetables are locked in a completely different building across town that speaks a different language.
Okay, yeah. So the skill of the chef is totally irrelevant if the kitchen is actively working against them.
Exactly. In the world of machine learning, the oldest adage is still the truest. Garbage in, garbage out.
Garbage in, garbage out.
AI isn't magic, It's highly advanced pattern recognition. It relies entirely on the continuous flow of data.
Right.
If the data is siloed, meaning like the marketing department's servers physically cannot communicate with the sales department servers, or if the data is just unstructured chaos, the predictive models just break down.
That makes total sense.
Yeah. An AI cannot intuitively guess that a poorly labeled spreadsheet from 2018 is actually the master client list.
Right. It doesn't have human intuition.
Exactly. Nor can it magically bypass a network firewall it doesn't have explicit permissions for. It needs a smooth, frictionless flow of high-quality information to make those brilliant predictions.
So we have this massive traffic jam of AI agents hitting legacy servers, and the kitchen is an absolute disaster.
Yes.
The natural assumption, and I think what a lot of companies tried initially, is that we just need bigger servers.
Yeah. The brute force method.
Right. Like, we just need to rip out all the old databases and throw every single piece of company data into one massive centralized data lake so the AI can see everything in one place.
Right.
But the article says the actual solution isn't just pooling data together. It states the backbone enabling this transformation is a robust data fabric.
Yes. Data fabric.
So what does this all mean? Because I want to get into the technical weeds here. Fabric sounds, honestly, like a marketing buzzword.
It does sound like one.
Are we talking about a new piece of software you buy? How does a data fabric actually fix the dirt road?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, you'll see why the data lake approach actually caused as many problems as it solved.
Okay.
When companies dumped everything into a centralized lake, it often just became a data swamp.
A data swamp. Nice.
A massive, unorganized dumping ground that was incredibly expensive to maintain, and the data was often stale by the time it even got there.
Well, because it takes time to move it all.
Exactly. A data fabric isn't a single piece of software you install. It's an architectural approach. It's an intelligent, connective tissue, a web of technologies that sits right on top of all your messy, siloed, legacy databases.
Wait, meaning it leaves the data exactly where it already lives?
That's the crucial mechanism.
Yeah.
Through a process called data virtualization, The fabric allows the AI to query and access data across different systems without physically copying or moving that data to a new location.
That sounds incredibly efficient.
It is. It uses active metadata. Think of it as a highly dynamic, self-updating card catalog.
Oh, okay.
The AI doesn't need to go searching through the dark basement of an old server. The fabric's metadata layer instantly tells the AI exactly where the data is, what format it's in, and how to read it in real time.
So if your legacy databases are basically different departments speaking completely different languages in separate lock rooms, the data fabric isn't a bigger room. It's the universal earpiece everyone wears that translates all the data into a single cohesive language instantly.
That universal translator analogy is spot on.
Oh, awesome.
And the article specifically breaks down the output of that architecture into 3 non-negotiable pillars. For the AI to deliver business value, the data fabric must ensure the data is accessible, consistent, and secure.
Okay. Accessible, consistent, secure.
Right. We've touched on accessibility, that virtualization layer bridging the gap to deprecated servers.
Yeah, the AI has to be able to physically reach out and touch the data no matter where it lives.
Exactly.
But the second pillar is consistency, which honestly feels like the hardest mechanism to pull off. I mean, human beings are rarely consistent in how they record information.
Which is why the semantic layer of a data fabric is so vital. The data must mean the exact same thing across the entire enterprise.
Give me an example of that.
Let's look at a very common, very expensive real-world scenario.
Okay.
You asked your new AI executive copilot, what was our total revenue last quarter?
Sounds like a simple question.
You'd think. Well, your sales department's database might define revenue as the total value of all multi-year contracts signed that quarter. But your accounting department's database defines revenue strictly as the cash actually collected and cleared in that 90-day window.
Wow. Yeah, those numbers are going to be wildly different.
Completely different.
If the AI pulls from the sales server, it looks like a record-breaking quarter. But if it pulls from accounting, it might look like a cash flow crisis.
And if your data fabric hasn't enforced consistency through a unified business glossary, the AI is totally blind to that nuance.
It doesn't know there's a difference.
Exactly. It'll either confidently give you the wrong number, or worse, it will hallucinate a blended answer that means absolutely nothing.
Yikes.
The semantic layer of the fabric acts as the ultimate arbiter. It ensures that when the AI asks for revenue, the fabric translates that request and pulls the exact, universally agreed upon corporate metric every single time, regardless of how the individual departments labeled it in their local systems.
Because you can't run a business on hallucinations.
No, you really can't.
If you can't trust the answer the AI gives you, the adoption stops dead. People will just go back to manually pulling spreadsheets.
Yep.
Which brings us to the third pillar the article highlights, security. Because we're talking about unleashing an autonomous agent across an entire company's internal ecosystem, the potential for a massive internal data breach seems exponentially higher.
Security is the ultimate deal breaker for enterprise AI.
I can imagine.
You are feeding incredibly sensitive intellectual property, financial forecasts, and personnel records into these models.
Right.
If you deploy an AI chatbot to help employees summarize internal documents, you have to be absolutely certain that a junior marketing analyst can't accidentally prompt the bot to reveal the CEO's compensation package.
Or like summarize the upcoming round of confidential layoffs.
Exactly.
Because the AI model itself doesn't have an innate sense of corporate hierarchy.
No, it doesn't.
It's just a prediction engine designed to be as helpful as possible. If you ask it a question and it has access to the text, it's going to answer you.
The AI wants to fulfill the prompt. The data fabric is the mechanism that stops it.
How so?
You don't just rely on the AI's internal guardrails. You weave these security and privacy policies directly into the data layer itself.
Oh, I see.
Using role-based access control embedded in the metadata, the fabric acts as an ironclad bouncer.
A bouncer, nice.
Yeah, so when the AI reaches for that sensitive HR file to answer the junior analyst's prompt, the fabric intercepts the request in microseconds, checks the user's credential hierarchy, and says this user does not have clearance.
Wow.
The data remains completely invisible to the AI model for that specific interaction.
That's incredible. So it's weaving those 3 specific threads together. Virtualized accessibility, semantic consistency, and embedded security that actually turns a flashy experimental AI toy into reliable, scalable business infrastructure. So establishing this data fabric solves the immediate bottleneck. It gets the sports car out of the mud, it gets the kitchen organized, and the ingredients properly labeled.
Right.
But the technology review piece shifts gears here from just achieving basic everyday functionality to high-level, long-term market strategy.
This is where it gets really broad.
Yeah. It points out that as organizations scale these AI capabilities, the need for this sophisticated data management strategy becomes even more pronounced. A comprehensive data fabric leads to improved decision-making, greater efficiency, and deeper innovation. Ultimately, it states that a well-structured data environment acts as a catalyst for business growth and competitive advantage.
Yes.
And here's where it gets really interesting. We all know data infrastructure is the historical bottleneck of enterprise IT. Usually we think of modernizing databases as just, reducing technical debt.
Right, a defensive move.
Exactly, it's a defensive move. But what this article posits is that fixing this plumbing isn't just about cleaning up the back end anymore. It's the primary offensive strategy for market capture.
This raises an important question about how we view the tech landscape over the next 5 years.
Yeah.
We naturally tend to assume that the company with the smartest, most expensive, most proprietary AI model is going to dominate their sector.
Sure, that makes intuitive sense.
Right. But the reality playing out right now is that the AI models themselves are rapidly becoming commoditized.
Wait, you mean everyone eventually has access to the exact same foundational intelligence?
Exactly.
Whether it's OpenAI, Anthropic, or an open source model, the brain is available to anyone with a subscription.
The underlying algorithmic technology will be relatively similar whether you are company A or company B. You can't differentiate your business long-term just by buying an off-the-shelf copilot.
Right.
So the companies that are actually winning in the market, the ones offering hyper-personalized customer service, the ones anticipating supply chain disruptions weeks before they happen, the ones making lightning-fast financial pivots during market volatility, they aren't doing it because their AI is magically smarter. No, they are winning because their data environment is superior.
Wow.
Their sophisticated, well-structured data fabric allows the commoditized AI to run at absolute maximum efficiency, analyzing unique, proprietary company data that their competitors just don't have.
While their competitors have the exact same AI model, but it's stuck waiting for a human to manually reconcile the sales and accounting spreadsheets from last month.
Exactly. The data fabric dictates how high the skyscraper can ultimately go.
I love that.
If your fabric is robust, scaling up your AI capabilities is frictionless. You can add more departments to the network, integrate more complex predictive models, and spin up entirely new automated workflows without the underlying systems collapsing under their own weight.
Yeah.
Executives aren't waiting weeks for data reconciliation to make a strategic pivot. The AI provides accurate, secure, contextualized insights instantly.
That's powerful.
That transition from viewing data management as a burdensome IT cost center to viewing it as your core competitive differentiator is the hallmark of the companies that will survive this technological shift.
It fundamentally rewrites the playbook.
It really does.
Well, this has been such a dense, incredible journey to unpack today. Let's zoom out and summarize the narrative we've traced through this technology review piece.
Okay.
We started with the sheer scale of the AI explosion, realizing that by the end of 2025, half of all companies are rapidly dropping automated copilots and predictive systems into HR, finance, and supply chain simultaneously. Then we uncovered the hidden bottleneck. These advanced AI tools are basically incredibly fast sports cars, completely stuck on legacy dirt roads.
Right.
They are entirely dependent on massive complex data flows, and when confronted with siloed, messy internal networks, they falter.
They absolutely do.
Finally, we explored the mechanics of the solution. We unrolled the data fabric, not just a massive data lake, but an intelligent architectural translation layer.
Right.
We learned how virtualization makes data accessible, how a semantic layer enforces consistency, and how embedded metadata ensures ironclad security.
Yeah, those 3 pillars.
This unseen infrastructure is the true catalyst for efficiency and growth. Whether you're an executive prepping for a major strategic meeting, or you're simply trying to deeply understand the rapidly shifting tech landscape around us, grasping the mechanics of the data fabric puts you leagues ahead of the curve.
It really does.
You're no longer just marveling at the shiny skyscraper, you understand the engineering of the foundation holding it up.
It completely shifts your analytical lens.
Exactly.
You stop looking at software vendors and asking, what can this AI do?
Yeah.
And start looking internally to ask, what data is this AI actually capable of understanding?
That is perfectly said. And I want to leave you with a final lingering thought to mull over on your own as you navigate these tools in your own work.
Yeah.
As these AI models become completely standardized, as the actual brains of the operation become easily available, cheap and off the shelf for every single competitor in your industry, will the ultimate deciding factor between a wildly successful business and a bankrupt one have absolutely nothing to do with artificial intelligence itself? Will it depend entirely on the quality, the strength, and the weave of the invisible data fabric they are plugged into?
It's a great question.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. Keep questioning the hidden structures behind the technology you use every day. Keep investigating the foundations, and we will catch you next time.